Hey, so I got a theory. Well, not theory, but I have a belief. My belief, and this comes from after years of thinking about this. The ultimate currency is our time and our energy, right?
Correct.
And right now, the way our world is, you have everybody always trying to take your time and energy from you, and you have and our society is built in a way that is taking our time and energy away from what's important: phones, television, drugs, stupid shit that we should not be giving our most important currency to, our time and our energy. Instead of being on our phones, we could be with our family. Instead of watching television, we could be reading and working on ourselves. Like you said, we have a choice. We have our mind, right? And I feel like we have to take control back from all these distractions that is taking our energy away from what is important. But they want us to give our energy to them. They want us to give our time to them and take it away from what is important, really important in life, and that's this: each other, building relationships, learning from each other, communicating with each other, our families, making sure that our children are raised correctly. And I think we have to take our energy back from what is not important, dog. Do you agree with me with that? You know what I'm saying? Distractions.
And to me, we're here to work with each other ultimately. Like if you delve into like the real human instinct and the real human kind, is that we prefer to work with each other.
Yeah.
And we cannot do it all alone. So that's why we need each other. So that's why a sustainable society is where everyone in the society has something at their home that they're going to be able to exchange about twice a week. So a person that has the ability to grow lemons, apples, oranges throughout the community, watermelon, all that, it's more efficient to come together on Wednesday and Sunday and exchange all the fruit and vegetables that we need, because we don't need livestock. Our bodies don't need meat. It doesn't need milk. It doesn't need cheese. It doesn't need eggs. It doesn't need chicken. We don't need fish. All we need is vegetables and fruit. That's it. And those are the easiest to grow in a society, because you don't need a warehouse. You just need a small yard. Because everyone, think about it, everyone in the house, in this whole community, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have to be like 10 blocks. It just has to be 4 blocks. Count all the houses on the block. And everyone grows something: potatoes, sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, whatever, bro. And you all come together and help each other do it. And then you come in, then you, as a homeowner, you pick it all, and you go to the farmer's market in your little area. You just don't even have to drive. You just have to walk with your little, everyone has a wheelbarrow. You all walk right here in the center part of the 4 blocks. And you all give each other stuff, and then you all wheel your happy asses back home. And now you didn't waste gas. We didn't waste no trucks bringing nothing across the country. We didn't have to worry about illegal immigrants working in the country. No disrespect, but we didn't have to, people that want to worry about it. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about huge amounts of pesticides, because that's the other thing. As long as you wrap your freaking garden with copper wiring, it kills all the bugs. And the other thing that happens is dragonflies come, because they don't bother them, but they know bugs are coming. And the bugs only get so close and they can't help it. They're like crack addicts. They got to get that fruit because it smells so good. And here is the dragonfly kicking it on the fence. waiting for that bug to come so he could go and get that motherfucker.
Copper, huh?
Yeah, so you run copper wiring through the whole fence, and you have to put the tower on the north section of your home, so it captures the energy from the air, and it goes into the wire, and then the wire goes through, and it's all energized, and it's copper, and the bugs are like.
Do you need some type of special to attract the energy?
No, it's just you just get the tower, like the straight pole, and you wrap the copper around it all the way up, and it just sticks up like an antenna, like a radio antenna.
And that copper,
and that right there will just zap the energy in the air, all the ions, all the energy in the air, and just boom, and then all of a sudden it energizes the whole garden, and now it grows the garden better on top of it. But at the same time, it creates a force field, an energy field.
Earlier you mentioned Tesla. Is this ideas that came from Tesla, free energy from the air?
So he went to Edison and said, "Hey," and Edison's like, "Hold on, we gotta make money off this shit." And that's why megahertz, right? Like about 100,000, 300,000 megahertz sound. You sit in that shit, dude. You got cancer, and it starts popping the cancer cells like popcorn.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cause problems to the other ones. We're made of water, so that's why the energy levels flow through us so easily.
Yeah.
That's why you got to stay in the moment when you're living. Like Dazed and Confused, when he's asking him, dude, he's like, he asked Matthew McConaughey, "What's up, bro? Like, what you doing, man?" He's like, "I'm just
living.
I'm living, bro." LIVIN. Because he's in the moment.
Yeah.
When you're in the moment, you got the charisma, bro.
Yeah.
When you're in the moment, that's why like everyone knew you everywhere we went, bro. When we were younger, because you always lived in the moment. Some people naturally have it; they don't have to work on it because they live it. They just live it. Me, when I'm younger, I'm always worried about the future. I'm always worried about the past. What happened there? That's why I'm not good right now. They say whatever you tell yourself is what you're gonna get. So like check this out, bro. I was having problems at work for the last 2 or 3 months, like financially. I'm like, fuck, no one wants to talk to me, bro. It's because of this, it's because of that, dude. Oh man, it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because of all that, it's because of that, bro. It's all that, and it's because of that, bro. And it's that, and it's that, bro, and it's that, and then yeah, it was. It was because of that.
Oh yeah.
Because I was saying it was because of that.
Yeah.
So, like, I saw some shit on TikTok, and the girl's like, just tell yourself you're worthy of the abundance today. Go to bed saying you're worthy of the abundance. When you wake up, you're worthy of the abundance, right? And just tell yourself and believe it.
Yeah.
So, like, this last month, dude, I sold 154,000.
That's right. Boom.
Because of that.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Oh,
because of the belief system.
Oh yeah, it's
living in the moment.
It's the belief of the belief. You believe in your belief, and
dude.
that's what matters.
But live in the moment. Stay in the moment.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the future, because the future will come because of the present. You got to live in it, and we don't live in it. A lot of times we don't live in it. We're sitting there waking up in the morning. That motherfucker yesterday. You're still pissed at it. It's like people pissing in your cornflakes and you're still eating them.
You're choosing to eat them, right? When all you have to do is serve yourself another bowl.
Or when that happens, when you wake up in the morning, right? When you wake up in the morning and you fucking see that and you feel that, it's like people are living rent free in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Because you're allowing it. Does it bother you? It's normal. But it bothers you because you care about the person. If you didn't give a fuck about someone, you don't care what they say. At the moment, you might get mad and be like, fuck you, fool, and start talking shit. But once you go home, you're like, 2 weeks later, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about, I had that fucking altercation with that person I didn't know about. Fuck them, eh? But you didn't remember it for 2 weeks. But someone that you know and care about, and you constantly think every day, like, fuck that motherfucker. Two things, like, you either have to have a conversation with them and clear the air, or like just like fucking don't do that. But it's your choice. But you gotta stay in the moment is what I'm realizing now. Like soul searching. right? You have to stay in the moment. I see some guy on the TikTok, Bashar. He always talks about that. He says, your world is your world. It's what you see it. He says other people are going to tell you what to do. Just say, okay, thank you. Don't argue with them. Just take their opinion, say thank you, and move on.
Yeah.
And maybe something what they're saying you could actually use to change your life. But if not, just say, okay, thank you for the opinion, and just move on. And just be happy. Because he's like, haven't you noticed when you were all pissed and sad, everything was all pissed and sad? Now, just imagine if you just, even though shit makes you pissed and sad, just still be happy. Just be happy. It upsets you, but just be happy. Just like convert it. And instead of like telling yourself, oh, I have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have to do this. I have to do the dishes. I have to take out the trash. I get to do this. Every time you wanted to go to a party, man, I get to go to the party. For that's what you say. You don't say, I have to go to this party. If you say you have to, it's because you don't prefer to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're miserable and you're unhappy about going. But when you tell yourself, when you're at work, hey, I get to do this. I get to do this performance today. It makes you feel better.
I'm grateful for
instead of saying
experience.
Good morning, say rise and shine.
Mm.
Because that in the good book says that. It says rise and shine. Say rise and shine when you get up in the morning. It's different. Take the word want out of your vocabulary. Replace it with prefer.
Mm-hmm.
Because the universe always gives you the feeling of wanting. If you're a person that constantly wants and says, I want, you get this right here. Man, I wanted this duct tape. Now you have it, and you're just like, okay, cool. I'll deal with this right here, bro. Man, this is cool. But you wanted this shit fucking all the day, and now you don't even want to fuck with it.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you had it, now you don't prefer to have it.
And if you're always wanting something, you're never going to get it. You're always going to be wanting.
More and more. Just be happy with what you have, and if things come your way, it will. But that guy Bashar was saying that things will come your way. Your world will change, but you just have to go about it in a different way and just be happy that you're alive. Be happy that you're doing what you're doing.
Mm.
And just continue to be happy. Continue to be yourself. Be happy about it. Be happy that you're alive. He says you're all like the same thing you see when you go outside to the park. When you're upset and pissed, it's going to look ugly at that park. But then when you're happy and you go and look at that park, it's going to be vibrant and alive and full of love and energy. So he's like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be happy or upset? I mean, happy or upset? And they're like, happy. Well, then be happy. You're down on your luck, be happy. Fuck it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Next.
Yeah.
Because being upset is not going to change being down on your luck.
Mm. And do you think
but being happy will change it?
You know, when you're faced with little obstacles, not necessary obstacles, or when when things don't go your way, do you think looking at it as if this had to happen, you got
to figure it out.
Everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for this happening today. I might not see it today. I might realize it, like you said, with what you saw. You saw coral, you saw pink, you had the feeling of a feminine presence, and later on down the line, you know why. Mm-hmm. Because you had your daughter. That was a representation of your daughter. So when you're faced with things that you might not understand at that moment, and things might not be going your way,
mm-hmm.
Everything happens for a reason. And like I called it, it's like it's an initiation. It's something that you need to go through in order for you to realize and understand it later. One thing that I tell myself every day is that I am the only force in existence that determines my experience in this world. I am my only cause. Yes, I have situations that I have no control over, But you know what? I do have control over it. The way that I perceive it,
Yeah.
my perception,
Yeah.
and I choose to view the world and anything that happens to me as a cup that is half full. I do my, because all I'm gonna do is hurt myself if I'm if I'm pessimistic or if I'm negative. I'm just putting shit on top of
Always,
shit on
bro.
top of shit on top of
Always,
shit.
bro.
You know?
And just replace it with good stuff and see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, man.
Because we already know, the majority of us in life already know when we put the negative thoughts in and we're like, oh, I'm poor. Oh, I can't afford that. Oh, this is why I can't do it. When you keep constantly saying that to yourself, it's going to be that life. It's going to be that world. So and that's all energy that you're putting in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting in it every day.
Yeah.
You're putting in that energy to that bullshit and that negativity every day.
Where focus goes,
You're
energy
doing
flows.
it. You're doing it constantly. So that's why that guy Brashard is like, just do the opposite. Be happy. Be positive. Expect that the outcome's going to be better. Just like you thought the other way. Just do it this way now.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, yeah, just give it time. You'll see. Things will change. Doesn't it make sense? He's like that. And it's like, you think about it, it makes total sense. Because we focus on the negative, and the negative happens on a constant basis. So why not just tell yourself the positive? Even though, like, hey, like he says that there was like 5 levels, 5 things, right? And one is you have everything you need. It's all right here. Everything you need is all right here. Where you're thinking the opposite, like, man, I don't have the money to buy all the things I need. But he's like, all the things are here. They're all here already.
You're already in you.
And then he's like, the self-worth is already there. Everything's down the line is all there. But he said, one of the main things, I believe, if I got to remember, but he said, it's remembering the first one, that it's all for you. But what's all for you? The bullshit or the good stuff? So that's where you have to tell yourself.
Both.
Everything, yeah, they
Like
are.
both, yeah.
And they are. And so you go through all 4 of them, but it always reports back to the first thing. Like, it's all for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all for you. Regardless of what you do on those 4 things, it's all for you. So if you do it all good, it's all for you.
Hey, I got a
If
buddy.
you do it fucking bad, if you do it half and half, it's all for you, right?
Hey, I got a buddy that says every once in a while life gives you a shit sandwich, and all you can do is take a bite of that motherfucker and like it.
Yeah. Taste that corn. Fool.
Taste that corn, fool.
You know? So it's like, just be positive.
Yeah.
But you don't realize it when you're young. You think you have to do all these hard things. You have to tell yourself all these bullshit things. But it's funny how when you get older and your self-worth becomes more, because you look at life like, hey, who's going to be at that party? Not like, I'm just happy to go to that party when you're young. You don't care who's at that party. It could be gangsters and killers and rapists. You don't know, but you're just knowing that there's a party. But now as you're older, you're like, well, who's at that party? Who's going to be there? What kind of party is it? Is it backyard? Is it in the house? What neighborhood? That determines all what you're going to do. Because now you're like, I don't want to put myself in that position because there's going to be a lot of bad people at that party and it's in a bad neighborhood. And it's a backyard party. On top, that means that anyone can come in and out. I'm good. But when you're young, you're just like, you don't care about all those details.
Yeah.
You just want to be at the party. You know, now you like, you know, it's just where you're going, who you're dealing with. All the people you used to watch on TV, they're all different now.
Yeah.
Because of all the situation that you're knowing about Hollywood. And how that is all a facade.
That's why I stopped watching TV
It's
a
all,
long time ago, dog.
and I just watch like the old movies that I'm accustomed to and I know that were kind of made before all that. You know, because all that candy situation came out in 92.
I think it's always been there.
No, but not as sinister.
I think they did a better job of hiding it.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But they didn't have to worry about social media exposing it.
That's why.
And stuff like that. But if you wanted that certain role, you always had to do that certain thing. And that's another thing they were talking about in the movie industry, about that Devil's Peak in Montana. Because it is a sacred tree. And all those trees that are at the base are the treeling, the saplings from the tree, all the seeds, right? So the aliens supposedly showed up there, right? So they made a movie about it, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So what they do is they go to Hollywood and say, hey, who's the highest bidder for this movie that we want you guys to put out? It's a blockbuster.
It's going to be a blockbuster.
We got the whole script ready for you. You just got to direct it, put it together, get the actors, call it a day. Who's the highest bidder? Me, right here, Steven Spielberg. I'm an upcoming director in Hollywood right now. I would like to take on that film and be the one that makes it. And that's why he became so popular. Because he's willing to do that. They're willing to do that in life. They're willing to sell that to people as the truth, or as a movie truth. Everything in the movies is a depiction of who we are and what's going on in this world. Area 51 from Independence Day. Everyone knows it exists. Everyone knows. Can't go there though. You could go next to it. You could see the signs, but you can't go there. They'll escort you off.
Hey, imagine what we don't know about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. All the portals.
Imagine what we don't know about.
They got portals all around the whole world.
Hey,
and that's how close Hitler was to changing everything in life. Because if he would have got the jet propulsion, if he would have never messed with Russia, bro, if he would have never fought Russia and did that route and focused on the jet propulsion that he was probably 6 months to maybe a year away from, he would have annihilated the English. Because he already had France. So he just set up shop, shoot the rockets over. They would have had enough rocket propulsion to get to, because that was his whole thing. He didn't want to take his planes. He wanted to use the jet propulsion to shoot it over there. And once you got the jet rockets versus propellers, there's no way you're going to survive. You can't shoot them down. So it's like things like this throughout our history, bro, that have happened, that would have changed everything. Like killing of JFK. He didn't want to go to Vietnam War. The whole Vietnam War was to get the freaking opium over here. That was a front for them to get the opium to the U.S. for the heroin addicts. Just like the crack.
So who's in control of all of this?
So the people that are the ones that own the media, that own the medical facilities, that own the medical industry. So it's old money from the 1900s.
Who's in charge of them?
1800s.
Who's in charge of them?
Well, it's a whole conglomerate of world leaders that come together that you don't know about, that we don't know about. And they call it the G7, the G Summit.
But that's what imagine what
the G7 Summit.
Like, I'm talking about like what we could only imagine. Because we know what we know. Like you just mentioned the G7. You mentioned,
they have technology.
Money,
they have technology for the future that they trickle out to us.
With your imagination, okay? With your imagination, what do you imagine, dog? Like I imagine that we are living in a completely different reality than what
is the truth.
What is the truth, right?
That's why the trafficking is so heavy with humans.
Technology-wise, food-wise, land-wise,
bro.
all of that.
Like they push us on the edges of the land. when there's plenty of land to live on? Just go up to Phelan.
How
Go
long?
up to Ridgecrest.
Hey,
That's only 2 hours away, dude, and there's so much land out there. It's hot as heck, but there's so much land out there, dude.
do you think there was ever a time when the people in power right now were not in power and it was a different way?
It
We were-
always, yeah, it
you know,
always has.
That us,
It depends who's the one that's in charge.
yes,
Like the Egyptians, they used to be in charge, and they still are. They're still in charge, bro.
has it, okay,
The
has
Egyptians.
there ever been a time, do you think that there's ever been a time like when everything, when we were living the reality that we're supposed to live? When was that taken from us? Because it had to have been taken from us at one point.
So that's where the Aztec calendar comes into play of 2012.
Okay.
It's a dimensional shift.
Okay.
That's when they turn on the freaking CERN Switzerland looking atom collider,
CERN.
2012.
Right. But even before that, I feel
Like
like
a dimensional shift, it like pushes us into a different realm. Because they're messing with black holes, they're messing with dimensional interactivity.
Mhm. Was there ever a time where we were living the reality we're supposed to be living? Like you said, when communities were coming together, sharing resources, where we didn't have to worry about Big Brother, or we didn't have to worry about a power entity taking our freedom from us, where we didn't have to give, say we all come together as a community, we didn't have to give them part of what we have, where our benefit was also in their interest. When there were rulers that were for us, that wanted to see us rise, that wanted to see us reach our full potential.
I think it may have been like that if it was written in the way it's written in the book before the situation with Adam and Eve, like breaking the cycle of that way of living. Because once that took place, once that sacred situation took place where it was broken and it was jeopardized for a personal feeling, the way it kind of is nowadays. It's a me society. That was like a selfish act in the story of the book of Adam and Eve, right? It was a selfish act.
Which act?
Where you broke
the Apple Act.
You broke the sacred situation where have anything you prefer, just not that. You know, so you're breaking the sacred bond. So society at that point could never be a community that works together on a consistent basis, because there's always going to be that person or that entity that comes in out of nowhere after a certain amount of time that alters it and changes it and wants it different and prefers it to be different. So there's no possible way to ever get back to that unless there's an annihilation of people that are supposedly in charge of the human race.
Hey, so getting to where we are at now, right? What needs to be done in order to fix what is happening now in our country? Because I think a lot of people can agree that it's not best for us.
The only way is us, the people. A small example they did in Honduras. They had a McDonald's there. The McDonald's, all of a sudden, within a few years, people started having diabetes, overweight, cancer, all this crap happening to their bodies. Because this McDonald's came and they started eating it because it's cheaper and it's America and let's do it. So they said, let's stop eating there. So they stopped eating there. Less business, less business, less business, less business. And then all of a sudden McDonald's is like, hey, we can't be here. Why? Because no one's coming here. So we got to close shop and we got to leave. So that's the only way to get rid of them. You stop shopping at Walmart. like Sprouts, because it's local. They go to local gardens. You know, that's what Sprouts is all about. They go to local gardens to buy the food. They don't have it trucked in.
You starve them,
Yeah.
right? You starve them.
You don't
feed
buy
them.
their stuff. You don't
Yeah.
buy their things. You don't buy Amazon. The only reason why we buy Amazon, because it's cheaper and it's convenient and it comes to our house.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we don't go to malls. And you can't be at a mall no more because you can't afford to pay the lease to sell your clothes to people that don't want to buy it from you
Yeah.
because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
I'll buy the same thing over here
Yeah.
at Nordstrom Rack or Amazon. You know? So it's too expensive. That's why the malls are closing.
Yeah.
That's why
like
they're
ghost towns.
empty. Yeah, they're empty. No one goes no more. It's too easy to have it delivered to your house. So the only way is for us not to do it. We control what they, if we don't go, they cannot produce. They cannot thrive. They cannot profit.
Right.
Like me and my company, dude, it's an endless business.
Mm.
It's never gonna stop. You and I are the inventory. The human body is the inventory for my company. Whether it's cremation or full body, we got you either way. You want to get burnt? We'll do it. You want to
Got you.
get buried? You do
Got
it.
you too. Yeah.
Shipped out? We'll do it. Ship in? We'll do it. It doesn't matter. You have to do it.
Hey, is there a law? Not a law, but is there a fine? Like, what happens? Because when I die, right, I would like to be cremated, but I don't want to be cremated the way is traditionally cremation. I want to be burnt
Well,
on the fucking beach.
people can.
You know what I mean?
People are coming up with a decompensation style cremation, where your body is taken, placed into a big, large cement box, a bunch of dirt, a bunch of flowers, a bunch of everything that'll decompensate your body
Mm.
and turn you into mulch.
Wow.
It's like 45 days to maybe 60 days, something like that.
And then what do they do with that? What do they do?
And
with
they
the
call a
mulch?
family and tell them, hey, I got your soil. And you come and get the whole box. And then you go and plant yourself in the garden.
Huh.
Or spread your freaking dirt wherever you want.
Interesting.
But your body is, there's a few states that are doing that right now. Like New Hampshire and Washington.
Mm-hmm.
These liberal, super liberal type of states that want to break away from, the government control in a sense.
Hey, I want to start wrapping this up. 2 questions I asked my guests. I'm going to ask you. If you could give your freshman self any type of advice,
Your what?
your freshman self,
Like high school?
yeah, any type of advice, what would it be?
Your body will be going through a lot of changes physically, mentally. But just know your life is worth it. Every step of the way.
I like that.
Because at that point, you got to think about what's going to be coming.
Mm.
And just realize, hey, shit happens. Right? But just be prepared, because because that's the metamorphosis stage to me. That's when we disappear from our parents and we show back up when we're freaking a senior, because we need for them to start paying for shit, like our graduation and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have any final words? Final words, Doug, for the world, for existence. Final words that will ring through eternity.
We're here on Earth for a minimum amount of time, between 60 to 100 years. But our actions, whether they're positive or negative, will live on forever. So what you do when you look at the headstones, you got a date of birth and you got a passing date. But what you do in this 70 years is that dash line. So when people look at your headstone and see that dash line, what are they going to say about you? This gentleman lived 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. But while he lived here, he was a rotten apple to the core. He was a piece of shit, no good motherfucker that treated life like a game, and it wasn't worth it. Or is it going to say, man, this motherfucker lived 15 of those dash lines, and he only lived here 60 years, but he lived 15 people's dash lines that couldn't even live one. And it's like, you want to live life between those dash lines, between the date of birth and passing date. That's when you want to live life. Because there's only one way to that passing date, and that's being born, dying, but living that dash line will make your life worth living, because everyone's life is worth living, no matter what circumstance. And we're always constantly reminded daily, if we're paying attention to the signs that God gives us on why our life is worth celebrating and worth living. But how are you going to, what's your dash line?
What's your dash line?
What's your dash line?
I like that. Final words? All right, man. Hey, this was a great conversation. I'm fucking grateful for you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy, dog. Thank you for this experience. Love you, dog.
Me too, brother. Thank you for the invite, brother.
100%.
Estamos por vida, man.
Let's see what happens podcast. Don't forget, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you. Have a good one. Boom.